I want to know how the hell people in Canada are even living.
I'm going to be the one to say it because I don't care, but the housing crisis in Canada is disgusting.
What is going on in Canada that this house costs?
That rent or apartment is this expensive now. Like, what's really going on?
I cannot fathom paying $1,000 a month to live with 3 other people.
Rent is so out of control in Ontario cities that a UBC student commutes from Calgary to Vancouver instead of paying rent.
The housing market is so fucked, and I honestly don't even know what to do anymore.
I am so fucking mad. Not only is trying to find an apartment in Ontario fucking bullshit.
Rent in Canada is out of control. One-bedroom apartments cost more than half of people's income. Many renters are forced to share rooms, basements, or live far from work. Some even sleep in living rooms. Landlords have too much power, and renters have very few options. When demand is high and supply is low, rent always goes up.
If you're currently living in Alberta, specifically Calgary area, and you live downtown in a high-rise apartment, what the fuck do you do for work? Like, I need to know, because I just went apartment shopping or like renting, whatever, with my friend the other day, and the prices are absolutely insane. And I just don't understand what job people are doing as Canadians. Like, I'm 25. What job would a 25-year-old have to be living in these apartments? Because it's just insane to me. Like, $1,800 for a studio apartment downtown, minus $200 parking, minus utilities. Like, what the fuck? How are you guys living? How are you guys living? Please tell me. I want to know how the hell people in Canada are even living. I generally consider myself a positive person. I'm like resourceful, but some stuff happened around the property, and like, well, I know I'll never truly be homeless. Like, I have family to live with, and you know, like, I have options. Like, I'm luckier than a lot of other people, but how the hell is anyone existing in Canada? Like, I feel trapped. And like I just got a good job. I started in September, but even with that job, it pays less than 40 grand a year. And it's a job that requires like education, and even on that job, like, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days. Like, I'm just feeling so much despair. And I know I'm normally like really, really positive, but I'm just like, how is everyone else, and are you okay? Because the answer is probably no. And I know I'm lucky. I don't have kids. I have like good family that will support me, but I feel like I can't stay here, but I can't move anywhere else, because anywhere else I move to, I'm gonna be charging, like, the landlords are just gonna charge me like $2,500 a month in rent. Like, unless I move into the middle of literally nowhere where there are 0 jobs, and I'm just feeling really overwhelmed. And like, I don't know. There's a part of me that just wants to say F it and just get a whole bunch of credit cards and just travel and just like get out of Canada, because like I know it's bad everywhere. I really do. But I don't know. I just, at 33 years old, like, I was really hoping that I could at the very least afford, you know, a small house. I don't want 3,100 square feet bullshit. I just want something small, 500 square feet, even less. And yet it's so fucking expensive. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It ain't no way that rent or apartment is this expensive now. Like, what's really going on, bro? Like, the market for apartments is crazy. Not even just apartments, like houses, all that. It's like the norm is like 2,500. Like, what's really going on? How do y'all expect people to get through the week? Just like, I don't get it. Like, bro, I feel bad if you ain't working right now or something. Like, it is crazy. Like, and then it be the apartments that don't even be nothing special about it. It ain't them high-rise apartments. It's the simple one bathroom, 2 bedrooms, living room, and that's it. Like, at the end of the day, bruh, the something gotta shake. A reality check has to come in play. Like, I don't know what's been going on these last couple of years, but I don't like it. Like, bro, you can't even tell nobody, like, yeah, I'm gonna move out and I get 18 and get a man. That's damn near throwing them to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? Like, how motherfuckers be like, your parents be like, hey, you gotta move out when you get 18. I wish motherfucker would tell me if I was 18 right now, move out. You gotta let me get some time to understand what's going on. Like, these apartments are so expensive. And that ain't even groceries, cleaning products, clothes. Like, to the new generation, life is life. And you remember that teachers always like, yeah, once you graduate, you're gonna see how life is. No, life is really life. And I'm telling you, life is real.
I'm going to say something really controversial here, but if you work a full-time job, you should be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. I am so tired of hearing older people say that it is entitled to want to live in a 1-bedroom apartment and that they're saying we're entitled for not wanting to live with roommates. Yeah, it's always been normal to have roommates when you're in school, when you're in university, but why is it now the norm that when you're in your 30s and even in your 40s that you have to have multiple roommates just to be able to survive because the cost of living is so high and the wages are just not keeping up with that? It is not entitled to want to be able to live in a 1-bedroom apartment when you are working full time, when you have a career. When I was in my early 20s, it was really common to have roommates in university and then maybe for a year or two as you were getting established in your career. But nowadays, you literally cannot live in a 1-bedroom apartment unless you have an extremely high-paying job, especially if you live in a city anywhere in Canada. Now, I live in British Columbia, which I know has always been a bit more expensive than the rest of Canada. But when I graduated university in 2015, a 1-bedroom apartment in Langley, BC, where I currently live around an hour outside of Vancouver, you could get for like $600 if you were living in a basement suite, and then like maybe $1,000, maybe $900 around there if you were getting like an actual apartment. Nowadays, basement suites go for like $1,800 to $2,000, and above ground, like actual apartments go for $2,200, $2,400, which is ridiculous. It should not be considered a wild luxury just for the rich to be able to live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, how did we get to a point where wanting to live in a 1-bedroom apartment is considered entitled? Now, I'm very lucky that I have a partner. We're able to split the rent somewhere. But if we broke up, I would be screwed. And the thing is I don't even have any single friends. Like, who would I live with? I would have to find a stranger from the internet. And in what world is that just considered normal for people in their 30s to just have to find a random stranger on the internet to live with? Anyways, I don't care how entitled boomers want to call me, but I will stand my ground on this one, that if you are working a full-time job, you should be able to live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
I was chatting with one of my best friends yesterday, and he's the same age as me. He's, 53 going on 54, and he had just a shit day, right? He discovered yesterday that he owed an additional $12,000 in back taxes that he didn't anticipate, and he also realized that the repairs that needed to be done on his car couldn't be done by him, even though he's pretty, handy when it comes to car stuff. And so he now has to drop an extra, $3,000 into his vehicle. And he also realized that the apartment that he lives in is just not sustainable. They've jacked up the rent on him, and he cannot afford to continue living there. So he now is in a situation where he needs to move. He needs to find somewhere else to move. He has to figure out how he's going to pay all his back taxes. And he's driving a car that is in desperate need of repair. And honestly, he was in the verge of tears, right? Like, he was in a really, really bad state. And I told him that how I could relate to this. Like, I've been in exactly that same boat. And, honestly, it's miserable. And listen, there are people all over the country who are in the same boat. Like, the financial situation, the global economic situation is absolutely horrible right now. And the cost of living is through the roof, and it's impossible to get ahead. It really is. I mean, people are sinking and desperate, and they are not able to make ends meet, and the number of people who are losing their homes is unprecedented. That's the situation I found myself in not even a year ago. I was about to lose my home. I was going to lose everything unless I figured out a way of generating an additional stream of income. And, I was thinking about going and getting a part-time job, but I realized that, look, that's just impractical. I've already got a really demanding job, and, I've got a 7-year-old daughter I need to look after, and I've got a property in the country that requires a lot of work, and I'm also looking after my 89-year-old mother. Like, how much fucking more can I take on before I drop of a heart attack? Like, it's just it's not sustainable. So, I finally figured out a way of bringing in an extra stream of income. I spent countless hours after my daughter went to bed late at night researching how to tap into this online space, because I could see that so many people were making money in the online space, but it was a mystery to me. It was a complete fucking mystery to me. And I had no idea how I could get a piece of that, but I knew that I needed to do something. So I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I finally found a business model that actually worked. It was digital marketing, but it was digital marketing on steroids. It was not like, typically buy a digital marketing course and, try and create your own product and spend months putting a website together and, eventually just throw your hands up in the air with frustration. No, this was completely different. This program was designed for people just like me, who were older, who didn't have, the IT, didn't really know anything about IT, didn't have a business background or finance background or know anything about marketing, and certainly didn't know a shit ton about social media. Like, it was really designed for people with zero experience, but who had a burning desire to change their life and were willing to put in the time. But the great thing was that the time wasn't super demanding. Like, I could get away with spending a couple hours a day, and it didn't even have to be all at once, and it could be from anywhere, right? So once I decided to make that leap, and it was a leap of faith, because, honestly, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I finally discovered that, hey, this is something that actually works. I was given 4 products that I could turn around and sell for 100% profit right out of the gate. I had a website done for me. I had an email campaign done for me. I had all of this stuff ready to go. And, a very, very simple step-by-step process for getting set up to the point where I had a business up and running within a day. So look, if you want to learn how to do this, if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone and you want to change your life and you don't want to lose everything and you're willing to put in the work, that's really all you need, is a burning desire to change your life, be coachable, and be willing to put in a couple hours a day of good old-fashioned work. If that's you, then reach out to me in the comments and just type ready.
Hot take, and I'm not judging because I literally was in this situation like a few months ago. I cannot fathom paying $1,000 a month to live with 3 other people. It literally bothers me that rent prices have gotten so insane that you're gonna pay $4,000 for a tiny ass unit. So like, for example, the situation I was in was I graduated college, I got a full-time job. It was downtown, and so there wasn't a lot of options, and I couldn't afford to live by myself. So I had to live with like 3 other college students. I paid $1,000 to live with 3 girls. Keep in mind, our unit was tiny. I could not fit like literally anything in my room. I was like crammed. I've learned like how to be a minimalist now because like I had no room in that apartment. My walking pad was like literally right next to my bed. Like there was no privacy. But I'm just not understanding like how people are graduating college and like moving out on their own, trying to be independent, trying to like stream away from their parents. And you're gonna tell me that it costs $1,000 to live with 3 other people. So obviously, if I didn't live with 3 other people, I'd be paying $2,000 in rent. $2,000. Keep in mind that that doesn't include any other bill you have, on top of the fact that that is literally like half of what you make. The math like doesn't make sense in my brain. And the fact that now I live in a lot less busy area and the rent is still expensive as fuck. I don't live anywhere near where I go to school. I drive there every day and the rent is still fucking ass crack expensive. When I moved into this apartment, we didn't even have a washer and dryer. Like, what do you mean? Like, and this is not me being a brat, like, get fucking better rent prices. No wonder people are living in their parents' basement. Like, this is why. Oh, not to mention I had 2 sources of income too.
Hello, fellow Torontonians. Sorry, this post is aimed more for Torontonians. So I live in Scarborough, Ontario, and I've got a question out there for you guys, for everyone living in Toronto. So as you all know, at least I think you all do, and rent is really expensive in the GTA area, or any kind of area in this area. So I have a question for you. I've been living in my apartment now for about 8 or 9 years, and I rent with the Brown Group of Companies, Verbana Construction Inc. And rent for a 1-bedroom going in this building is like anywhere from $1,700 to $2,500. That's typical for any apartment building renting in Toronto. Prior to that, I used to rent with Park Property Management like years ago. A night and day difference between the two. So living here, Park Property Management, if you go and you Google them on Google, their ratings are like 4.5 out of 5 stars. Everybody loves them. But the ratings for Brown Group of Companies and Verbana Construction Inc. is like 1 star out of 5. And people's comments are like, wish we could give them less. I wish I had done my Google research before I moved in. Not really typically like that for me. I usually do better, but I failed. But anyway, so living in this building, give you a background of this building. Our carpets haven't been vacuumed in like, I don't know, 6 months, maybe at least 4 months. Since like May, they haven't been vacuumed. Our building outside is like a dump. There's like paper and garbage all surrounding our building. All the other buildings around us are super clean because Park Property is beside us. And what else? The elevators go out. They shut our water off at least once a week. Elevators are always in like service. The elevators, like they've got like handprints on the elevators for like months on end. Actually, it's been 2 years, the same handprints on the elevator in one of them, and they haven't been cleaned. There's been homeless people in our building for like over 2 years, sleeping in the stairwells. There's been blood on the stairwells that I saw, the same blood in the same spot for like 3 weeks in a row, until I gave up using the stairwell. So I don't know when they got cleaned or if they've gotten cleaned. There's been piss and pee and whatever. Landlords actually blame the tenants for the piss and the pee and the poo. And they blame our dogs. Meanwhile, it's not our dogs. They're homeless people. I've like literally seen at least twice. I've been in the stairwells where I've seen homeless people sitting there with like piss right beside them. And there's been like cigarette butts and stuff like that. Their shoes off and they're spread out lying on there. And the stinks. But yeah, anyway, so all this shit with the building, regardless. The rent is so freaking expensive. So my question is, when rent is so expensive and there are so many people that are unemployed and cost of living is so damn expensive, our Verbana Construction Inc. and Brown Group, whatever, they went and they renovated our balconies a few years back. And they have requested a 6-point-something% rent increase from the tenants to cover that cost. So my question is, we just had a hearing. And this hearing was between the tenants and the landlords to see if they had a right to, or if they were going to be able to approve this increase, whatever. So my question is, they own the building. They're already making a shitload of money off of us renters. We are paying a ridiculous amount of rent, and now we have to cover the cost for them to replace the balconies. Or a few years back when I first moved in, they had like done the elevators before I moved in, and I still had to have the rent increase for these elevators, and I had to pay for them. Meanwhile, I wasn't even here for the old elevators or when the old elevators or when the new ones got put in. But why are we paying for this? And at this hearing, this was my question. I'm like, why are we paying for this when they own the building? It's their responsibility to cover their own costs when they're already making money off of us. And basically the mediator that was there was not on the renter side at all. Tenants had no rights whatsoever. No one was supporting us or helping us. And she's like, well, that's the law. So my question is, as a little person, for all you renters out there, when there's no rent control and nobody is helping us, what do you guys suggest that we can do about this? Because this is not right. They're already making a shitload of money off of us on their rent. I can't even move out, because if I move out somewhere, I'm going to have to pay like $2,500 for a 1-bedroom or even cheaper, and I can't afford that. There's so much unemployment. Cost of living is so damn expensive. There has to be something that us little people can do to stop these corporations of Urbana Construction Inc., Brown Group, or whatever it is. I don't know if Park Property does this. I lived in Park Property for about a year. My water was never shut off. I didn't even know the supers, put it that way. And I didn't have to deal with rent increases and stuff. And I know other places do the same thing, but what can we little people do to protect ourselves? I'm putting this question out there for you guys. Please put comments to see what can be done and what cannot be done, because this is ridiculous. Like, the landlords in my building do fuck all. They sit in their apartment all day long doing fuck all, and they only work when the property manager shows up. But they don't clean up the apartments. They don't do anything like the cleaning around the building. The garbage chutes, we won't even get into the garbage chutes and what kind of a mess they are. But I mean, basic things that have to do with health and safety, of like cleaning the fucking basic carpets, they're not done. But that's besides the point. Like, when you're living in an apartment and you're renting, you expect it to be clean, and you're already paying your rent. So why should we have to pay for like the construction, like renovations too? Guys, really appreciate it if somebody can put out some comments in here to say what we can do. Putting it out there.
I am so fucking mad. Not only is trying to find an apartment in Ontario fucking bullshit. All those landlords out there that go, oh, where are the good tenants? Where are the good tenants? Stop lying. There is no such thing as a good tenant to any of you. This is a conversation that I am having with a rental agent right now. I am a tattooer of 12 fucking years. I like to do a private home studio. It's my prerogative. Why did I tell them? Because you have to disclose income. This shit has gone off the fucking rails. Hi, says the rental agent. How many clients do you see a day for the tattoo, and which entrance are you planning on using for their entrance? I only take one client a day, 2 to 3 times a week. Every appointment is private and follows a thorough vetting process. I don't take walk-ins. My work is exclusive, focused on large-scale split pieces that require time, focus, and collaboration. With over 12 years of experience, I have built a reputation for artistic quality, technical precision, and professionalism. Getting tattooed by me is not a casual experience. It's a curated process. At times, I pause bookings entirely when I am focused on other creative commissions. I don't know how I can be any more clear. Anyway, during these periods, I don't be tattooing, okay? Because I dedicate myself to my work. Regarding door, I would use whichever is appropriate to receive guests. I've known my clients for 3 to 4 years, and they are more than clients at this point. What the actual fuck is happening? And like, I'm trying to fucking give them grace here because I realize that it's Kempville and maybe they have no idea about things in general. So I continue to say that I think it is important to note that the tattoo experience I provide is very intentional, trauma-informed, and grounded in empathy and precision. The environment I curate for both living and working is calm, relaxing, and never overstimulating. Think smooth, mellow, ambient jazz, not hard rock or anything resembling a typical tattoo studio. It's a tranquil oasis surrounded by plants, designed so everyone feels safe, seen, and at ease. A tattoo experience with me is like a spa day with art. Where are the good tenants? Fuck off. Thank you so much for sharing. I will get back to you shortly. And they didn't. So I messaged them. Hello, I am touching base to see where things are at. I again try to extend some grace to the landlords and offer for them to call me so I can talk to them and put any whatevers they may have in their mind at ease. The rental agent responds, there's a big difference when business is being operated at a residence, and we have no positive landlord reference. I assure you we will get back to you when a decision is made. Do you have any other references? Well, we already knew that my previous landlord was going to pull some shit like that, because he's not what I would refer to as a good guy by any stretch of the fucking imagination. I'll provide my reference again and add, just to note, my work doesn't contravene the Residential Tenancies Act or zoning. It's private, lawful, and fully contained within residential use. If my previous landlord provided a negative reference, I'll need that information for my records, as there's already an open police report due to, the threats that he made. Because I asked for my lease, exercised what little rights I had as a commercial tenant, and just wouldn't let him railroad me. We are not allowed to share that information. If the police ask, we will comply. Could you please change your email in your application? Also, the owner wants personal residence landlord references or explanations from the past 5 years. I would like to note that I provided them with 4 fucking years of rent receipts. But fine, sure, okay, fine. I'll play ball. I have uploaded an explanation document for the past 5 years in the additional documents section. Despite changing my reference's email and choosing send email multiple times, she has not received said email. Additionally, I need to know exactly what information was provided by my previous landlord, as it directly affects my application. There is no legal basis preventing disclosure. Please confirm what was shared so I can address any false or defamatory claims appropriately. I cannot tell you how fucking mad I am. I am very mad. Let's go check out my explanation document for the past 5 years. For the past 5 years, I have been forced to manage instability created by others. Ontario's housing crisis has placed enormous power in the hands of landlords, and some have abused that power. I have lived through intimidation, unsafe living conditions, and retaliation for asserting my legal rights. In multiple cases, landlords used their position to harass or endanger me while I refused to tolerate negligence, legal activity, or discrimination. I have faced similar dynamics in my professional field. Studio owners often exploit and underpay artists while profiting off of their skill. I refuse to accept those conditions. The truth is that I am responsible, organized, educated, and legally knowledgeable. I don't tolerate exploitation, and I don't allow people to manipulate or devalue me. If my housing record shows friction, it reflects that I held unethical people accountable while maintaining my integrity and stability under pressure. I pay my rent on time. If not, fucking early. Maintain clean and respectful living environments, and have continued to build a successful career despite systemic barriers and bias. Where are all the good tenants? I digress. I am not a problem tenant. I am a professional who has survived years of bad actors, documented everything, and has come out still standing, still working, and still doing everything right. Tattooing is a personal service, comparable to hairdressing, nail work, or massage. Regulated under Ontario's public health framework. I've operated from home on 2 previous occasions, each time receiving a health inspection and meeting all standards required for safe practice. I'm not new to this model. It's one I prefer because it allows me to maintain control over cleanliness, accessibility, and client safety. Here's where I quote the law and regulations around offering personal services where you're living, just in case, just to be helpful. While I'm always happy to educate and share information about my work or the legalities surrounding it, this line of questioning is on the verge of insult. That's me being polite because this is fucking insulting. My profession is legitimate and compliant with Ontario's public health regulations for personal service settings. I've always maintained inspection standards and operated transparently and responsibly. It's the repeated judgment and bias from others that have created instability, not me. I've spent years proving my credibility to people who mistake professionalism for defiance and boundaries for attitude. Yeah, so that's where that's fucking at. There is no such thing as a good tenant to any fucking landlord. It's all about power, control, and manufacturing scarcity. It's bullshit. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. Also, this place is in Kempville. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Pivot Turn or whatever. If you have an experience with them, drop it in the fucking comments. But I am so fucking sick and tired of this absolute bullshit. Fuck this shit. Big love.
Let's talk about the rent prices in Canada for 1 minute. If you're moving to Canada, this is what you should be expecting in 2025 and maybe also in 2026. In Alberta, cities like Edmonton and Calgary, a 1-bedroom would be anywhere around $1,200 to $1,400, and a 2-bed anywhere around $1,400 to $1,800. This is still one of the most affordable big provinces. In Manitoba, for example, in Winnipeg, a 1-bedroom is between $1,050 to $1,250, and a 2-bed anywhere between $1,300 to $1,600. It's newcomer friendly. And in Saskatchewan, cities like Regina and Saskatoon, a 1-bed anywhere between $900 to $1,150. So this is honestly very cheap for newcomers. But if you enter Toronto and Vancouver, 1-bedroom is anywhere between $2,300 to $2,700, and a 2-bedroom can reach $3,500. So if you're a newcomer, please do not bother starting your Canadian journey in expensive provinces. Start where you can breathe. Your wallet will thank you and your health will thank you, so you don't have to keep thinking and overthinking.
So I don't normally ever come on here and post anything except of my dog because he's absolutely gorgeous. But I am extremely frustrated being a full-time employed person living in Florida and not being able to afford to live. I have spent my whole fucking day off trying to find a, more affordable place to live because I can't afford fucking $1,300 a month in rent and then fucking a $650 car note and then $300 in fucking insurance and then you got utilities and it's either I eat or I pay my bills, and then even then it's like, okay, well, which bill's gonna be fucking late this month? And I'm so fucking sick of it. Like, all these fucking apartment complexes and realtors and even private renters, fuck you. Fuck you so fucking hard. And I mean that with everything in me. Fuck you. I, nor anybody else, should be working 60 plus hours a fucking week and not be able to fucking live. I'm about to crash the fuck out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me losing my fucking mind. I don't know. But I'm about to lose my shit because I just can't take it.
Isn't it wild that rent prices are so bad that genuinely where my brain goes is, oh, okay, but if I lock in a $2,400 one-bedroom apartment and I stay there for 30 years, in 30 years, when rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $35,000, all the young kids are going to look at me and come to me on the street interviews and be like, how did you do it? How did you find a one-bedroom apartment in Toronto for $2,400? Tell us your secrets. That's where my brain goes, which is unwell.
Rent is so out of control in Ontario cities that a UBC student commutes from Calgary to Vancouver instead of paying rent. When he was looking for a new house, he saw that he needed to pay $2,500 a month for rent, and he was like, that is not possible. But then he noticed that the flight from Calgary to Vancouver, which was about an hour, was only $150 round trip. And if he only has to be in class twice per week, well, that's only $300 a week, which means that per month he pays about $1,200 for flights and spends about 8 hours a month in transit, versus the average price of a one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver, which is $2,100 a month. That is the current state of the rental market in Canadian cities. Completely untenable for the average person, where you would rather commute from a different province than to actually have an apartment.
One of the worst mistakes I ever made was moving into an apartment that I cannot afford. I sat down one day and did a whole bunch of calculations, and I was like, I can definitely afford to rent a one bedroom in downtown Toronto. At the time, the rent would have cost about 40% of my total income. So I was like, okay, I have 60% to do whatever I want. Wrong. Just existing and living in Toronto costs so much money. You walk out the door and you've spent $100. Got to a point where I was saying no to things like going out for dinner with my friends, going on weekend trips, because the buffer room that I had in between paying my rent and the money I had left over was like barely a couple $100. And if I had any sort of emergency that I needed money for, I just wouldn't have been able to do it. But while I could afford my actual apartment and the rent, I really could not do anything else but stay inside. Looking back, I'm in a completely different place financially. I'm still living in the same apartment. I remember really wanting to just like keep up with the lifestyle inflation and trying my best to just like enjoy Toronto. Grateful to be in a position where TikTok has completely changed my financial situation, but if I could go back again, I would say live below your means at all times and don't fall into the trap of wanting a cool lifestyle. Be able to save money, be able to invest more money, be able to go on like trips to Europe and things like that. And the lesson that I've learned is that even though my income now has increased significantly, I am not going to let my lifestyle inflate with the way that my income has grown. I'm very thankful that I'm in a place now where I could easily afford a new designer bag or moving into a bigger condo than just a one bedroom. But being financially responsible and looking to the future means thinking ahead. All that additional income that I'm making does not mean that I'm going to increase my expenses. So if you're a young person that's easily influenced and you want the lifestyle that you see everywhere online, just think twice about it because it's not always amazing and not always great.
This is how unaffordable it is to live in Canada right now. So I went to engineering school, graduated, and got a great job working in the engineering consulting industry, and I have a good wage. My boyfriend also works in engineering and has a great wage. But when we graduated and moved downtown, we weren't able to save any money because the cost of living is so high. Now, I have saved for a down payment in the last couple years, and I'm ready to buy property, which is super exciting. But what that took was hustling my ass in the evenings, building my social media, and doing brand deals, and I got into a throuple in the past 2 years. So I split my rent 3 ways. But like, is that the standard? Do you have to work 2 jobs and be poly to survive in this economy? Because that works for me, but I don't know if everyone wants that.
Living in Calgary is actually a joke. I hate it here. I moved into my apartment in October 2022. It's July 2023, and so my lease is coming up like kind of soon. I get the notice that's like, are you gonna want to re-sign your lease? I look it over. If I do, they want to raise my rent. And I'm like, so I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and let me tell you, I pay $13.75 in rent. So that's what I pay in rent to live here. And you might be thinking, oh, Amy, that's like not that bad. And sure, maybe it's not. But I don't live downtown Calgary. I don't even live close to downtown Calgary, actually. I live like 20 minutes away from downtown Calgary. And I'm not in a nice area. I do not live in like a nice, respectable area. I'm basically like in the ghetto of Calgary. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm like 8 minutes from Chestermere, and I'm 20 minutes from downtown. So I do not even live remotely close to the inner city. And our building has 0 amenities. I have nothing. We have nothing. We don't have a gym. Like, we don't have, I don't know, the little get-together rooms that some buildings have. We have literally nothing. We don't have like a library, like nothing. So on top of that, since I've moved in, the water has been shut off, like no joke, at least 4 times a month. We are constantly getting notices that the water is going to be shut off for sometimes like 2 days, like from 8 to like 5, but 2 days in a row of that. So it's only like on, I guess, if you get home after work. So like I've never really complained about it because I'm not here most of the time anyways because I'm at work. But like, how are you going to raise the rent for somewhere when you're literally like depriving everybody of water for literal days? Like, hello? And it's not a nice building. Like, it's not a new building. It's not recently renovated. Like, it's old. It's old. It's ugly. It fucking smells. Like, this is not a nice place. It's not a nice place. And I already paid $13.75, which is a lot of money. I can barely afford the $13.75 that I pay now, and now you want to increase. Like, I can't even afford to pay $10 more than what I already pay. And I'm not even kidding. I'm poor. So I'm like, why do you want to raise my rent? They're like, we need to match the rental market and afford the cost of running a business. And I'm like, are you fucking, I need somewhere to live. You need to afford the cost for, you have 1 million other apartments here. I'm sure that you're running your business just fine. I need somewhere to live. I'm so frustrated. So anyways, I'm gonna have to move. And if I can't find somewhere that's at least the same as what I pay now, I'm gonna be fucking homeless.
I don't mind giving most of my paycheck to my living and groceries on a shitty bungalow in Barrie, Ontario. What I do mind is that then, after I give you half my paycheck, you're gonna be like, oh, and you can't wash your car in the park driveway. And absolutely no storage in the garage, especially not winter tires. I've come to accept that I will never be able to afford owning a home. But if I'm gonna be stuck renting and giving someone my whole paycheck every month, I'm gonna wash my fucking car in the driveway. I'm not paying to keep my winter tires somewhere the fuck else. The problem with renting is that landlords have the audacity. They're like, no pets, no children, no laughing after 9 p.m. Just take my money and shut up.
For many people, rent in Canada is no longer affordable. It's stressful. It's exhausting. This is not just news, it's real life. Subscribe to Canada Voices for more real voices from Canada.